Ladies and gentlemen, it's a huge pleasure to be with you all once again. Coming to this university and to this city has always felt a bit like coming home to me.
Prince Louis has always been the royal family's little spark, cheery, charming, and mischievous. Whether he's sticking his tongue out on the Buckingham Palace balcony or making the world giggle with his yawns at royal engagements, he's been the beating heart of a more accessible monarchy. But recently, that light faded in a way that shook the palace and the entire nation. It all began with a seemingly trivial moment, a short contact during Trooping the Color, recorded on video and lasting only a few seconds. When Queen Camilla said something to Prince Louis, things changed quickly. His face plummeted, the smile disappeared. Catherine, standing close, froze. Her typically calm and kind countenance had gone chilly, even enraged. Within hours, royal watchers had dissected each frame. Lip readers said Camilla instructed Louis to stop acting like a clown. Others claimed she insulted him under her breath, plainly unaware she was being monitored. Regardless of the exact words, the body language was unmistakable. By the end of the day, rumors inside the palace had escalated into alarms. According to multiple sources, what happened next was more than simply a private reprimand or a poor moment. It was the tipping point. Catherine, noted for her calm demeanor even in the face of family strife, is said to have lost her cool in private, and with good cause. Camilla had crossed a line before, far from it. According to palace staff, the Queen Consort and the Princess of Wales have had a long-running feud, fueled by envy, power conflicts, and quiet sabotage. Camilla attacked not just Kate but also her kid. Insiders believe that's when everything changed. Catherine wasn't simply furious, she was finished. "I'm done with staying silent. I'm over being sidelined. I'm done letting Camilla throw her weight unchallenged." What followed was a dramatic sequence of confrontations, canceled appearances, and royal power moves that left King Charles reeling. William divided between devotion and love, and Camilla fuming with simmering wrath. The monarchy, already battered by years of controversy, may be facing its most deadly fissure yet, one that will strike at the very heart of the next generation. So what did Camilla say to Prince Louis? Why has Catherine's reaction shaken the entire palace? Is this the moment when the actual fight between Queen Camilla and the future Queen Catherine breaks out? The answers will shock you. And what are the consequences? They may just alter the monarchy itself. It was meant to be a day of unification, showcasing royal heritage, grandeur, and authority. Trooping the Color, the king's formal birthday celebration, is one of the most meticulously planned occasions on the monarchy's calendar. Every hat is in place, every child has been rehearsed, and every grin is planned. But no one could have guessed that a quick, spontaneous moment on the balcony would set off a royal storm that might take years to recover from. The moment arrived just as the Royal Air Force planes blasted overhead, decorating the skies in red, white, and blue. The audience below cheered. The senior royals stood as expected, with Charles and Camilla in the middle, and William and Catherine slightly behind. Prince George and Princess Charlotte stood alongside their parents, beaming and confident. And then there was Prince Louis, the youngest, squirming cutely in his small military-style outfit. Camilla moved gently toward Louis as the cameras focused on the typical family portrait, leaning just enough to mutter something inaudible. At first sight, it may have been a passing comment, but Louis's face transformed. His grin disappeared. He adjusted his weight awkwardly and focused his sight on the floor. Catherine's reaction was quick and visceral, a little tightening of the shoulders, her grin locked in place like porcelain. It was a brief interaction, but observant viewers saw it right away. Social media erupted. Within hours, a video of the incident went viral with the caption, "What did Camilla just say to Louis?" Lip readers weighed in. Some said Camilla chastised him to stand still and behave. Others claimed she derided his antics as not appropriate for a future royal. Whatever the words, the tone was evident. It was patronizing, and Louis wasn't the only person who noticed. After the fly passed and the family's final goodbyes to the people, Catherine was spotted backing away from Camilla, delicately changing her body so that Charlotte stood between them. A bit later, she whispered something to William, who glanced down uncomfortable and nodded slightly. However, the actual storm had only just begun. According to an unidentified palace staffer, Catherine unexpectedly declined to attend Clarence House's post-parade luncheon, something she has never missed. She was expected. Her name appeared on the seating chart. Then she vanished, the source stated. No explanation. There's no message. Just gone. Another insider said Catherine departed the event in near silence, leading the children into a waiting car with an ice-cold expression. William, they add, was visibly anxious, but opted to stay behind, most likely to avoid more conjecture. That wasn't just a royal mother having a bad day, one insider explained. That was a woman who'd had enough. By the next morning, the British newspapers had been told to carry the headline, "Kate misses luncheon due to fatigue," but no one believed it online. The hashtags #ProtectLouis and #QueenKate rapidly became popular. Fan pages posted side-by-side images of Catherine's typically bright public looks and the thundercloud look on her face after Camilla spoke with Louis. A visitor took a hazy shot outside the event gates, which fueled the flames. It looked like Kate was speaking forcefully to a royal assistant, pointing back toward the balcony with her brow wrinkled and lips pushed together. The caption said, "She looked ready to explode." Behind the royal walls, damage control began immediately. Phones were seized. Staff were urged to remain silent, but as usual, the truth began to emerge. According to one insider, Camilla had already overstepped with Catherine's children, but this was the final straw. Unlike earlier occurrences that were pushed under the rug, this time it was recorded on video. This time the world witnessed. Most importantly, Catherine was not going to be silent this time. The palace may have attempted to smooth things over, but something had shifted that day. Not just in the public light, but deep within the monarchy's own walls. For once, the conflict was not between king and the people. It was between two queens, one current, one future, and a toddler who may have unintentionally sparked a family feud. Outsiders see Queen Camilla as a respectable step-grandmother, smiling during photo calls, standing properly by King Charles, and appearing with William and Kate's children. However, insiders have long speculated that her sentiments for Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and most notably Prince Louis, are significantly more convoluted. According to some former royal aides, Camilla has never really accepted William and Kate's family's tremendous popularity. What began as subtle envy for Catherine has apparently evolved into something more personal, resentment for how the Cambridge children have won the nation's heart. Camilla always knew she'd never be Diana, a senior courtier explained. But now, she feels like she's not even Kate. And what about the kids? They're adored, particularly Louis. Camilla does not grasp it. She considers his cheekiness undisciplined and his public devotion improper for a king. She believes they too are being raised soft. One assistant recounted a scene during a 2022 Christmas stroll at Sandringham. As crowds cheered loudly for the young royals, Camilla allegedly muttered under her breath, "Here come the golden children again." A staffer nearby caught the remark and claimed Camilla was clearly annoyed that the children, particularly Louis, were drawing more attention than she and Charles combined. But her sentiments extend beyond petty envy. Prince Louis's birth, there were small but significant discussions regarding whether he would have the same royal style as his siblings. Though approved, sources believe Camilla battled behind the scenes to make his title unofficial, stating, "The monarchy doesn't need another spare." Then there was the disturbing event involving Princess Charlotte at a private family gathering at Balmoral. According to a source close to one of the royal staff, Camilla playfully told Charlotte, "You'll never be queen, so enjoy the tiaras while you can." Despite being dismissed as a joke, others who heard it claimed Charlotte's countenance dropped, and Catherine, clearly concerned, pulled her daughter away immediately after. But Prince Louis appears to bear the brunt of Camilla's scorn. Perhaps he reminds the audience of Diana's kindness. Perhaps it's because his fun personality attracts attention, something Camilla has always desired but never fully demanded. Camilla apparently refers to him as the performer in a sarcastic tone, citing his viral exploits at the late Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. She doesn't think it's cute, a source said. She feels it's demeaning. She's told folks that he needs more discipline, something about understanding his place in the household. This underlying hostility may have remained buried, just another unspoken quarrel among royals. But for what transpired during Trooping the Color, because that moment, captured on video, was not an isolated slip. It was the mask sliding. The world got a peek of what some workers say they've seen for years, a lady who resents the very future she's supposed to support. Catherine saw it as a breach of trust, not only because it was disrespectful, not simply because it was public, but that was her child. Camilla's actions were not only wrong, but also unacceptable for a mother who was already treading a fine line within the royal family. And now, those subtle jealousies have exploded into a full-fledged royal conflict, threatening to escalate personal tensions into a palace-wide disaster. For years, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has portrayed the ideal royal wife. Graceful, measured, unshakably composed, she has handled palace intrigues, media storms, and even frigid looks from senior royals with a practiced smile and respectful quiet. But every woman has a breaking point, and Camilla discovered Catherine's when she attacked Prince Louis. According to sources, the drama continued when Catherine departed the Trooping the Color luncheon in silence. In fact, that's where it all began. When Catherine returned to Adelaide Cottage, she allegedly secluded herself in her own rooms with Louis, refusing to communicate with any aides or servants for the remainder of the afternoon. Only William was permitted in, and even then the talk was characterized as tense, hushed, and filled with long silences. When questioned later about the luncheon, aides were informed, "Her Royal Highness is indisposed." However, sources close to the family claim she wasn't sick. She was furious. For the first time in years, she didn't try to disguise it. The next morning, Catherine went against royal etiquette and formally requested a private meeting with King Charles. Her goal is to get Camilla to apologize for her actions against Prince Louis. However, her request was discreetly refused. What's the official reason? The unofficial truth: His Majesty's schedule is full. Charles didn't want to get sucked into a family quarrel he couldn't manage. That snub just fueled Catherine's passion. According to a palace aide, Catherine exploded over a private dinner later that week with some senior family members. She seemed stone-faced, sat silently, and allegedly pushed her dish aside after the main course. When Camilla tried to make small chat, Catherine reportedly snapped, "You don't deserve to speak to my son like that. Not now. Not ever." Everyone at the table froze. Even William was believed to be taken off guard. Camilla, ever composed in public, allegedly grinned and responded, "I say how I think it fits. That is what family does." The temperature in the room has plummeted. Catherine rose up and went away, leaving her dessert untouched and her husband dumbfounded. After that night, everything changed. Catherine stopped attending meetings that included Camilla. She conducted solo charity visits, avoided joint appearances, and even rearranged her children's calendars to avoid conflicts with Camilla's commitments. Palace sources describe the atmosphere at Windsor as ice cold, with staff scurrying to prevent mistakenly putting them in the same room. The situation became so severe that, according to one senior staff member, Catherine pondered temporarily moving to Bucklebury with her parents and children. She felt isolated, betrayed, as if no one in the institution would protect her children, they stated. And for her, that's a deal breaker. William, the normally calm negotiator between his wife and his father, was torn. On one side was his obligation to the crown. On the other was his wife's visceral maternal rage, the sort that doesn't go away with time. He reportedly asked her to wait it out. "Let it cool down," he stated. "We don't need more drama." But Catherine was no longer interested in diplomacy, not after what Camilla has said, not after Charles had turned his back, and especially not when her child, her son, was in danger. For once, the poised future queen didn't smile. She was done being nice. Inside Buckingham Palace, King Charles became trapped, not by politics or parliament, but by the two most powerful women in his life, his wife and his heir's wife. And no matter which side he took, he risked destroying the monarchy's entire foundation. Charles had spent decades trying to legitimize Camilla in the eyes of the public. From the other woman to queen consort, it was a protracted, deliberate campaign of gradual acceptance, rebranding, and unshakable commitment. Camilla had supported him through his darkest scandals, and now that she held the crown beside him, Charles considered any danger to her as a personal betrayal. This time, however, the threat did not come from the tabloids or distant relations. It was coming from Catherine, the poised and cherished future queen and mother of Charles's grandchildren. At first, Charles attempted to minimize the balcony incident. He reportedly advised Camilla to let it go. Camilla, hurt by Catherine's charge and the outpouring of popular sympathy for her, refused to back down. According to one courtier, she informed Charles directly, if she doesn't learn her place now, she never will. That one statement lit a flame. Charles, who had formerly championed family harmony, was now being tugged in different ways. William had requested a private chat twice, but was graciously denied with the pretext of state duties. Behind closed doors, Charles was avoiding his son out of fear, not hatred. He was aware that backing with William and Kate may entail openly admitting that Camilla had crossed a line. Camilla didn't take shame lightly. In a rare moment of honesty, Charles allegedly told a senior staffer, "This family does not need another conflict, not after everything we've endured." But even he realized it was too late. Camilla, seeing Charles's hesitancy, continued to press harder. She claimed Catherine's response was overblown, even claiming the Princess of Wales was emotionally unstable due to stress. According to sources, she proposed the notion of restricting Kate's solo activities, saying that a break might do her some good. Insiders say this is when Charles lost control. One senior colleague alleges he had a complete meltdown in his study, hitting his desk and screamed, "I'm tired of dealing with egos. Why is my family continually at war?" However, no public action was taken, and with each passing day of stillness, the stress increased. Meanwhile, the public became aware that Catherine hadn't been seen in over 2 weeks, and conjecture ran rampant. Kensington Palace released a bland statement. The princess is focusing on family time. However, even faithful royalists were skeptical. Online forums speculated about a deeper struggle, and Camilla's name became popular for the wrong reasons. Kate's popularity rose dramatically, adding to the strain. Fan sites, hashtags, and media op-eds sprang in, praising her parental instincts while implicitly condemning the queen consort's harshness. A story was taking root, which the palace could no longer control. Charles had a difficult decision between devotion to his wife and the future of the monarchy represented by his son and daughter-in-law. And the truth? He made no choice. By remaining silent, he chose paralysis. And in a palace where quiet is seldom neutral, his inactivity merely widened the gap. As the issue involving Prince Louis gained traction, Camilla did what she has done well for decades. She went into damage management mode. However, this time the stakes were higher. She wasn't only safeguarding her reputation, she was battling to maintain her status as the palace's unquestioned power broker, and to do so, she needed to move quickly before Catherine's quiet became action. Within 48 hours of the Trooping the Color controversy, royal press officers, many of whom owe more allegiance to Camilla than to Kensington Palace, were directed to change the story. Carefully worded quotations surfaced in sympathetic newspapers, implying that Prince Louis had merely been overstimulated and that Camilla was comforting him in a grandmotherly manner. One headline said, "Queen Camilla's tender whisper to cheeky Louis, a moment misunderstood." However, the people did not buy it. The video evidence painted a different tale, and admirers were already analyzing every action and micro-expression. Worse, social media users began gathering previous clips of Camilla looking cold or dismissive toward the Wales children into viral threads with titles such as, "This didn't start at trooping." Camilla pushed things a step further. Enter the spin campaign. A series of op-eds began circulating through loyal press outlets, portraying Catherine as overprotective, unwell, and struggling under pressure. One article in a royal gossip column went so far as to suggest that Kate's public absence might signal a quiet breakdown. Another asked, "Has the perfect princess cracked?" A question full of innuendo yet well-timed. According to sources close to the Kensington Palace, Camilla directly approved which publications received which stories. She didn't write the headlines, a trusted source told me, but she made damn sure they were flattering to her and damning to Kate. It was a typical royal strategy: weaken without naming names, sow the seed, and allow public skepticism to take care of the rest. Camilla hadn't expected the public outcry. Supporters of Catherine flooded social media with words of sympathy. For 3 days straight, the hashtag #IStandWithKate trended. Parenting groups and women's organizations began to voice out, labeling the coverage sexist, manipulative, and a disturbing look into palace power dynamics. In a rare move, both Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie allegedly expressed private worry over the messaging, with one insider stating they saw it as a deliberate attack on a mother doing her best to protect her child. Tensions inside the palace had reached a boiling point. In order to prevent leaks, a policy was made prohibiting junior employees from carrying cell phones during family occasions. Communications workers were directed to remove any mentions of the event from official royal pages on social media. Some assistants were even required to sign extensive secrecy agreements. One long-standing employee allegedly resigned, stating, "This isn't the crown, this is a cover-up." Meanwhile, Catherine did not say anything. No statements. There are no interviews, no appearances. And the silence? It sounded louder than any headline. While Camilla inundated the media with her version of events, Catherine's calm resolve served as a rallying cry. Mothers worldwide saw themselves in her restraint. Her reluctance to play palace games heightened public sympathy and exposed Camilla's desperation. The Queen Consort had started an onslaught, but instead of silencing the storm, she exacerbated it. Behind the royal walls, Prince William was the one who detected the most significant alteration. For weeks, Prince William had to balance his duty to the crown with his affection for his wife and children. He had appealed for peace, encouraged Catherine to let the tempest pass, and attempted to protect the palace from being embroiled in scandal. But there comes a point in every man's life when quiet no longer represents strength, but rather submission. After weeks of gossip, slander, and orchestrated headlines, William finally took action. It began gently. A little detail: Prince Louis is missing from the list of future royal engagements. For the first time, the young prince, who is regularly present for humorous public appearances, was not listed on the official agenda. When queried by reporters, a Kensington assistant provided a sterile response. Prince Louis is spending time privately with his mother. However, behind the scenes, the choice was purposeful. According to insiders, William personally removed Louis from the celebration after discovering that Queen Camilla would be in attendance. According to one senior courtier, he did not seek permission. He did not bargain. He simply stated, "Louis will not be going." The message was obvious. For weeks, William had been the palace's mediator, but without raising his voice or making a single word, he had drawn a line in the sand, and King Charles did not take this lightly. The choice allegedly resulted in a furious argument between father and son at Clarence House. A source described it as the most serious clash they've had since Harry left. Charles, evidently under Camilla's strain, accused William of playing into the press frenzy and damaging the unity of the monarchy. William responded calmly but firm, "I will not expose my children to those who insult them, not even family." Those in the room report that the atmosphere has turned cold. Charles, obviously shaken, attempted to shift the subject, only to be met with silence. William exited the conference without shaking his father's hand. The energy inside the palace began to shift at that point. For the first time in public, William and Kate made appearances without Camilla, and the audience took note. Catherine looked gorgeous at a children's hospital function the next week, holding hands with Charlotte while William assisted George in planting a tree outdoors. The media complimented the couple's elegance, and royal fans hailed them as the future we deserve. And Camilla? She was nowhere to be found. Whispers circulated that she had withdrawn from many scheduled engagements, citing exhaustion and overlapping priorities. But insiders believed the true reason was considerably simpler. She was furious. She was furious that William had publicly disobeyed her. I was furious that Catherine's quiet was gaining hearts, furious that the queen consort, once untouchable, was suddenly outshined by the same lady she had attempted to discredit. According to a royal insider, Camilla informed Charles privately, "She's turning the country against me," and William's letting it happen. Charles, apparently at a loss, pondered choosing a neutral royal, possibly Princess Anne or Sophie, to arbitrate, but advisors told him that taking sides now would risk a family war. For William, however, the decision had already been made. By standing with his wife, he conveyed a message to the monarchy, the public, and his children. Even royalty cannot cross certain limits, and no crown, tradition, or family title will ever be more essential than safeguarding those he cares about. The Prince of Wales has finally chosen a side. What about the woman standing near him? She was no longer merely a potential queen. She was the palace's most powerful agent of accountability.